Now, one thing that I've always absolutely loved doing is looking into how do you enter into something like the Apple ecosystem on a budget. Now, obviously, when I say on a budget, I don't mean literally like £500 and how do you buy 10 items with that. What I'm talking about in particular is going to be 4 items today that accumulate to roughly £1,800. Now, yes, that isn't necessarily the best budget price. You could argue that you can find things even cheaper. However, the main premise of this is how do you get some of the most up-to-date tech at a decent price and, you know, is actually able to get the job done that you need it to. Just before we get into the products, if you are interested in picking up something to complete your everyday carry, make sure to check out the slimline leather wallet by minimaldesigns.com, which is my company. That's designs with a Y instead of an I. You can pick one of those up. We have international shipping now, which is absolutely superb at a good price for only £5 extra. Now though, let's jump back into the video. I'm going to start with the central item of any Apple ecosystem, which has to be the iPhone. Now, the one that I'm choosing today is going to be the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You can find this thing for around £400 to £500 nowadays, which is actually a really good price considering the value for money that this device is. This is by far the best value for money iPhone on the market right now, and there is nothing coming close to it. Yes, sure, you could say, why didn't you just buy one of the newer phones, either the 14 or 15 Pro, but obviously this is more on a budget, and if I was buying a brand new 15 Pro Max, that would be the majority of all of this budget put into one. Now, on top of that, it is because the actual upgrade difference between this and, you know, the 15 and 14 Pros is extremely marginal. When I say that, I mean the main things that people really care about when it comes to a phone is, I would say, 3 primary categories. That is camera quality, which this one doesn't have the 48 megapixel, but to be honest, they aren't necessarily that noticeable, especially when you consider that most people, when they're posting things, it just ends up going on Instagram anyway, so it just ends up being condensed, so it doesn't really matter. And then on top of that, you've then got the actual power of the device. Is it able to do what you want it to do? Which this easily does it by far. There is literally no issues right now. If you were to use this, it would run smoothly on pretty much anything outside of, you know, playing some games, and even then, it's like very few, the ones that are from the console being brought to the iPhone. Now, the last area is battery life, which is the first area that this phone excelled at in comparison to any of the ones prior. The battery life on this thing is incredible. So if you were, for example, to get one refurbished where it's got a brand new battery in it, then you could 100% be looking at even an all-weekend phone depending on your usage. So I'd 100% recommend going for the 13 Pro Max at £450. That is an absolute steal of a price. Then we have the other device that is a core staple of any Apple setup, which is your main device for computing power. Most people will have this conundrum of whether or not they go for an iPad or a MacBook. I'd say in the average person's scenario, you're better off going for a MacBook. So in regards to this category, it's going to be the MacBook Air 2022 edition, which comes with the M2 chip, which, to be fair to it, is a all-rounder good chip. For everyone out there, if you're doing basic work or even light editing, for example, if you wanted to start a YouTube channel like this, you'll be able to edit something like this in 1080p pretty seamlessly on that device. 4K, you'd be running into a little bit of issues when it comes to just going across the timeline, but overall, I'd say that this device would easily get you through anything, let's say like schoolwork or, you know, just general work. Let's say you need to write something up, or let's say you are someone who wants to get into any creative field. It at least gives you that in at a decent price. This is going for anywhere between £900 and £1,000 right now. If you buy one refurbished or even used, you can get a decent deal on those. Obviously, that price is taking up the majority of the budget, and the reason for that is that you can get better older iPhones at better prices than you can for, let's say, a MacBook. Especially if you want anything from their silicon lineup, then you're going to be looking at least paying out a decent chunk of money. And then to end off getting into the Apple ecosystem on a budget, we've got 2 last devices. One is going to be AirPods, and more in particular, AirPods Pro Gen 1s. Right now, you can look at getting them for anywhere between £150 to like less than £200 nowadays, and that's even from places that are still selling some of them brand new. These things are absolutely superb. The only critique I have of mine is that they went through the wash, so they no longer work fully. However, as long as you don't do what I did and accidentally have them go through your wash, then you should be perfectly fine. These things are absolutely superb for anything from travel. I literally was using them for about 2 years straight with that. I'm hoping to upgrade this year, but in regards to it, noise cancelling on them is superb, and on top of that, the audio quality is absolutely great. The pass-through as well is wonderful, especially if, let's say, you're in a gym, for example, and you need to, just walk up to someone, double check if they're going to have a few more sets left. You quickly hold down the side of your AirPods and just speak to them and just be like, hey, got any more sets left? Cool. And then just go back to your music. It's absolutely great, and it works seamlessly between devices as well. That's one of the main things as well that you are looking for with something like the Apple ecosystem, is that with the AirPods, it allows you to jump between the iPhone and MacBook and the next device seamlessly. And the next one in particular is going to be the Apple Watch. And the device that I'm going for is going to be the Series 7. I think this one gives you all round the best quality overall. I'm using a Series 9, that's because I upgraded from a Series 5, so to a Series 9. Generally speaking, I wouldn't say there's massive differences. One of the key things that I would say for anyone who's an Apple Watch user or wanting to be one, make sure to find a band that you actually like. This was one big issue for me, which was that I hated all of the normal, I believe it's just the normal like rubbery sort of bands. I despise them. I hate using them. And now that I'm using this one, it's a lot more nicer to use. It sits nice on my wrist and it actually feels good. It looks good with different outfits and that sort of thing, so it doesn't just look like a conventional sports watch. And the reason why I'm going for the Series 7 in particular is that you pretty much get every single upgrade that you've been getting over the years. You just don't have as fast of a processor, and then on top of that, you don't have the double tap feature, which was the primary use case for this. So overall, I wouldn't say that there is a big reason to jump to a Series 9, especially when you can buy this Apple Watch for £200. So you can save £270 by going for a Series 7, which gives you so much of the value of what you would get anyway. So that right there is how you get into the Apple ecosystem on a good budget. £1,800 to get all four of those devices is actually a great value for money. Especially anyone who knows Apple products, you know that every single item that Apple sell always feel like jewelry or as if they are something expensive. One of the things that is a big critique of the 13 Pro Max, for example, is its weight, but personally, I actually really like the weight. It makes it feel more luxurious and as if it is something worth the money. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, do subscribe for more tech content moving forward. I upload once every single week and I've prepped a load of ideas for the next 4 months of the year, so it'll be amazing to see what happens in the new year moving forward with the channel. But that all being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.